Welcome back, everyone. Betska, the Guru Coach, together with my very handsome, well-dressed host, co-host, Raj Vashisht.
Oh, Roger.
And Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders is our podcast, but you know that already. And our guest today is Cheryl Joslin. And we have such
Intelligent, super intelligent.
Who you are super intelligent? Absolutely.
Our
Oh,
guest.
Cheryl. Oh, Cheryl.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, of course. Our topic today is people are seeking you. Belonging is the most important thing. And Cheryl and I voted that Raj would ask the next question. So go ahead, Raj.
Yeah, I'm asking a very tough question to you because I know you are a very tough leader and very confident. So I really love your confidence things. I am very curious because I'm in recruitment. So I have seen so many time in my professional world and the outside personal life. Betska raised very important question. Do I matter? But I'm asking you, if I don't know I matter in any organization, yeah, anywhere, so how can you convince me do I matter? Because I am don't concern about do I matter. I'm coming your office just for my paychecks and enjoying the money. And I'm copying and pasting my life through my friend circle or my networking. So I
Yeah,
don't
Raj.
so Betska, you just start. So do I matter?
Well, yeah, Raj was saying off camera that I think it was 70% of the employees, because he's in the business, really don't feel that they matter and they don't care that they matter. Now, that is really interesting when you think about the ramifications of that mental health deficit for the success of a company. I mean, that's huge, right? So,
Yeah.
what are we going to do with that, Cheryl? How are we going to help people feel that they matter if they don't themselves feel that they matter or that they even want to matter? Wow.
Well, I think to be first, I'll say everybody wants to matter. That's what we're
Okay.
wired for in our DNA. Everybody wants to matter. That's our
Okay.
armor, right? That stops us from being vulnerable. It's not safe to let you know that I care, right? So I don't care because you don't care about me. Why should I? And that's what this generation, that's what this leadership in leading this generation, people are having a hard time with, because we, and I will count myself as one of those parents, we raise them to be like, no, you know what? People don't get to talk to you like that. They don't get to talk to you like they talk to me or you or Raj, right? I mean, I once had a leader that said, look, if I tell you to wear one white shoe and one brown shoe and stand in the corner on your head, that's what you'll do. But this generation would be like, oh, there's the door. And then this generation would just take the door.
Yeah, they would.
I can tell you story after story. I remember sitting on a pickle pail. By the way, I'm a very shy person, very shy. And people don't know that. As I was coming up, you say confidence. So thank you. Roger, take that as a great compliment, right? But the compliment comes from it's grounded confidence. What's the facts? What are the real facts? Is what you're saying, does that make sense to me or does it not make sense? But yeah, I remember coming back from a leadership class, and the whole time I wanted to speak, I wanted to say things. I would be sitting there thinking of a question. We had the VP come and I thought, okay, the perfect question. But then someone would ask a question. I'd be like, oh my God, my question seems stupid. Like, we're all sitting there thinking, I'm not enough. Imposter syndrome. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has it. It's not exclusive to women. It's because people keep telling us we're not enough. That 21 laws of leadership. So I'm sitting on a pickle pail because they got feedback that said I came across as being arrogant because I didn't say anything in the class.
Ah,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, right? Nowadays, if you did that, like I flipped out a little bit and whatever, but I didn't leave. I stayed because I'm going to show you I matter. But this generation is like, you know what? If that's the case, then I gotta leave because that's not gonna change. I didn't ask a question, as I said, because I was like so paralyzed the whole class. I learned a ton, probably the biggest one about how I handle people is not to do it that way. So I learn more from leaders who do things that way. I don't want to be that way, right? So I will say to you, Raj, how do we handle that 70%, which I think is a fabulous observation, I will say, and thank you for the question. Is we need communication is one of the clearest reflections we can give. And we need to do it with everyone, right? I see your potential and I want you to succeed. Because really that's leadership. Brene defines it that way, seeing the potential in people and processes and doing something with it. And it doesn't mean the 30% who maybe came with a natural talent. It doesn't mean leadership is not learned, as I said, but some people came from another organization and they learned that. It's how do I take everybody I see and seeing the potential in them, right? Because here's the truth about it. You know, if you're walking into a conversation thinking, you know what, I just hope this person quits, or termination is inevitable, then you might as well have a different conversation, because that's going to set the tone for the whole meeting. They don't want clarity. They want to know you care. That's what they want. That's 70% of those people in the gym. If you go up to them, Raj, or those 70%, and no matter where it is, you're always leading, right? People are struggling today with the mental health piece. They're trying to be, they're trying to be leaders. They're trying to be parents. They're trying to maybe meditate. That would be great. They're trying to, they're trying to go to the gym. They were doing all of this under this stress of the world. You turn on the TV, you open a window, you do it. There's so much stuff. So how do we, if you think back to, 1900s, that kind of thing, the grace they had is that the world wasn't right at their doorstep every time you turn it on and telling you what to be afraid of. So how do you be different as a leader and not create fear in them, right? It's how do you become that leader that puts care first and goes, you know what? When I communicate, I'm going to communicate from my heart. I'm going to have a conversation with you that says, well, let's walk away with a mindset of how you can improve. I want you to succeed. I want you to be successful, not just in the business. I care about the business thriving, and I care about you thriving, not just surviving. So how do we have that cooperative conversation?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about practical things that can be done here. Weave it into a system, I always say, coach the people, fix the system, right? And so if you're a new leader, well, what we used to do was when we had new people coming on board, we would sit down with them and have a discussion with them, about their strengths and what they bring to the team, and discuss their goals with them, talk about any challenges they had in their previous job or whatever, and really get to know them. And then once every month, especially in the beginning, to coach them using proper coaching skills. They need to be trained as a coach, right? And use that coaching opportunity to help people overcome their challenges and achieve their goals. I mean, that in itself, it's such a simple system. You're really showing these people that you care.
Yeah. But what I would say, it goes even more than that. Like, I don't need to have a coaching degree to be coaching my people. I need to sit down and say, I care. Right. And put that before them. I want to help you. Most people are living in a space of, they're unconscious. Well, let's take the accountability ladder. So if we look at accountability and how do we have conversations to hold people accountable, and I think that's coaching. You're coaching someone when you're saying, here's the challenge. What are we going to do? So if you're looking at people, and I love, Brene has an amazing 11-step checklist. I'm ready to give feedback when. And the one I love the most is when I'm ready to put the problem in front of us and not between us. And that's what I think coaching is for your people.
Right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I'm sitting down and I'm saying to you, look, I'm not coming in with a fixer mentality. I've role played it. I think if you care about your people, you should role play challenging conversations with someone else, and always play the opposite person so you can get perspective. But I'm ready to put the problem before you. And I'm not coming in as a fixer. What I'm saying to you is, look, things aren't working. What's going on with you? Or things are working. You're doing great. And then we set out a plan together, right?
Yeah,
People
that's
in
right.
that space, when people think that you care about them, they're going to have conversations like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. That wasn't my best yesterday. And maybe here's the thing, you're having a conversation because it's like, you know what? That is their best. You've had a number of conversations, and that is the best the person can do. So the tough conversation is this the right job for you? Because if
Right.
this is your
Yeah, yeah.
best, and they might say that, you know what? I don't actually like this job. Or actually, I'm really struggling. And from that space, you can co-create an action plan. And maybe you can start catching people doing it right, not catching them when they're falling. And that looks like, you know what? I say to you, let's take the equipment, the gym stuff that you brought up, Raj, initially. If somebody's lifting some weights and they're lifting, you're not waiting for them to lift like 100 pounds and like, look at that, you got there. That was the goal. They're starting with 10 pounds and you're like, hey, you know what? Perfect technique. That is a perfect technique at 10 pounds. How did that feel? Can we push you a little bit more to 20? You know what? Still maintained your form. That was great. I thought that was excellent. You know, when they're starting to do it on their own, you're looking out of the corner of your eye and you're going over like, whoa, you went to 50 and you still kept your technique. Now, if they don't, you walk over and you say, hey, can I give you just a tip? Like, what was going on there? Again, you'll notice some coaching language there. What were you thinking there? Oh, you know what? I wasn't. I was thinking about dinner tonight and I forgot to take something out. Or, you know, my mom's, you know, in the hospital and I just thought I'd come and get a workout in. Great. You know what? We need to make sure that we're in the right mindset when we're lifting because you're going to get hurt. So how can I help you? How can I support you? You know what? Just by coming over and saying that really helped. I do need to, you know what? I need to go. This isn't the space to work out. Or, you know what? Thanks for the tweak. So it's catching them doing it almost right. It's catching them, but not just the top 30 that are already there. The brand new person who stopped yesterday. I mean, I had so many examples, but I'll give you one in my career where this person, I was the hiring manager, I was assistant, probably in the same position as that pickle pail because it was that job that I was in. And people came to me, and I remember this. It was a great hire. It was a great young person. And one of the rules was you can't eat on the floor. And so this person popped a fry into their mouth. And people came in the office, that's it, Cheryl, you have to go fire him. He just ate on the floor. Like, I can't even believe this. Like, you know, like you think he would have spit in the face of the founder. And so I went to the person and I said, hey, what happened there? You ate a fry on the floor. And he goes, oh my God, it fell in my hand, Cheryl. And I just panicked and I popped it in my mouth. Perfect. All I need to let you know is remember I talked to you about that. You can't eat on the floor. It's one of our policies, one of our rules. Oh yeah. Okay. If I say that to someone today, no matter what generation you are, they'd have the exact same response. Oh shoot. As opposed to everybody in the office talking behind their back. Not clear, not kind. So clear is kind. That's how we get that 70% to keep moving or moving on, because it's like the conversation you had is like, you know what? I don't think I can do this job. Great. How can I help you move on? I used to have a piece where I'd say, let me help you. You know, if you work at this business, people will use your resume and hire you if you have 2 years experience. Let's not mess that up. Let's move forward. Let's not lose your energy. So how do we, you know, have those correcting conversations to say, I care about you. And if it is to move on, that's fine. And when you do, the message lands. And it also will lift people up and they will want to be better. They will know that to your point, Raj, they'll know they matter. Look, I mattered because it mattered enough for you to come and talk to me about it.
So I'm really hearing what you're saying. I totally agree with in terms of the whole communication, learning how to communicate, first of all, to observe a situation, right? And that's why I'm suggesting some kind of a system as well, that yes, they need to do what you're doing and observe your employees all the time and stop at any time and just say, let's have a chat about this, right? Blah, blah, blah. But they also need to have some kind of a system. And I think that's why performance reviews have, you know, are sometimes done every 3 months, because the leaders themselves have a mental health deficit and can't even remember or don't even know how to have the conversations that you're talking about, Cheryl. So that's why we're talking about two separate things, and both of them are important. Yeah?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But here's the thing, I don't think they're separate, I'll say. And only the reason is I think you should have a review system. You absolutely should. Most companies have one, and they're just a gotcha, right? They're just about, you know what, here's that you're a 1 here, you're a 2 there. So I think reviews actually are better for the leader, because here's the thing I'll tell you about feedback. Feedback is great and it helps you develop, but not all feedback is pertinent and relevant, because feedback tells you more about the person giving the feedback than it does you. Because this is your pet peeve or this is your piece. So I think they should have clear review process, absolutely, that are coaching, that are setting priorities. I think it should be, you know, once a month you sit down with your people. I've had people who do that all the time, but at the same time, they're not having those daily conversations. So here's the reason I mean, it tells the leader more than it tells the people. And because a lot of times it's a got you, but here's the deal, sometimes it's not. But I now can't relate it. You say things like, and I have this all the time where I tell people, circle back and ask about that. Ask. Here's the thing, not right or wrong. Please give me examples so I can improve. So you need to be better at that. Okay, can you give me an example of, well, that was 3 months ago, so I don't have an example for you. But here's the thing, if it's a got you and the people don't go, yeah, you know, we've talked about that. You reminded me of that. You give me examples, you've told me, then you're doing a great job as a leader. But if people are like, what? I don't understand what you're talking about. This is the first time hearing of this. Then that tells you as a leader that you're not giving enough feedback. So I absolutely think you need to create systems and processes in your business. That's one of the things that I help people, because if you can create systems and processes, you can go backdoor, and I always use it this way, backdoor to front counter, wherever it is in your business, and you can be, oh, you know what? It's the process that's broken. It's not the people. The process.
Yes, exactly.
If people are stealing, you left the door open and they got desperate. And other people, to Raj's point, other people are stealing. I'm going to get away with it too. So how can you create great processes? Then you can focus on the people. And that would be catching them when they're doing it right and catching them when they're not.
Raj, you had a question there?
Yeah, I'm asking you, like, if I'm getting a feedback from you, but I have seen some employees and some person, like, they are overconfident and they have practiced to say bluntly lied. So this is very difficult to guide these kind of people. And they don't consider they are saying lied, or because I don't know, they don't have subconscious mindset. I have noticed they always think they are right. So they are very overconfident and all the time they lied. So this is very tricky thing.
That's high ego.
Yeah.
High ego,
So,
but again, it's their shield. And I've had lots of conversations with those types of people, Raj. I mean, there's only one type of people that don't take feedback, and they're about what? I don't know what narcissists or sociopaths look like in that demographic. But a lot of times it's that they haven't learned to take feedback, and their first thing is to be defensive, right? Their first thing is to say, it's not me, it's you. Yes. So how, again, role playing it, because that's important. It means you care. Role playing it as if you're them, because I've done this with people and they're like, oh, they would say this. And it's like, okay, so how do you have that perfect line that says, what do I want to talk to you about? You know what? I need to talk to you about the fact that you're just not meeting productivity. Well, you're not very productive. I see you stand around all the time. I'd be happy to talk about my productivity at the end of the conversation. However, let's stay focused on you and how we can improve that for you.
Right.
Because we need that. For the company to be successful, for you to be successful, we need to improve this for you. You're going to watch them walk through the accountability ladder. So to your point, they're going to be unconscious, unaware. So you're kind of raising that. They're going to be, in that place of blaming others. It's not, I see everybody else. Nobody else is doing it. Great. I'd be happy to take feedback on what other people are doing. afterwards and I can deal with that. But right now, let's just stay focused on you and let's improving this conversation. They're going to make excuses. Well, you know what? I don't have the tools to do this. I wasn't trained properly. You people have a shitty training program. Sorry to swear. And then you say, you know what? Again, happy to take some feedback on the training program. We really need to stay on how I can help you. Is that part of where we need to go? But we really need to get to where, you know what? Then your productivity isn't where it needs to be. You'll see them. It takes a while for them to flip to be like, you know what? Yeah, I guess I could do a bit better. Now, if you have someone who doesn't switch, then you've got the wrong employee or they're in the wrong job, right? But
Right.
if they can't take feedback, then you can't help them.
So,
But-
Cheryl, we have about 1 minute left, and the last question I think is really vital, because this is about belonging
Mhm.
and seeking. People are seeking you. So, what would you say to someone who's wondering if they're enough to be the person others are seeking? You know, it's about the self-confidence thing. What would you say to them?
You know what? Here's the thing I would say is we should go around, every leadership program should have an apology card that you walk around with, because whether you go to school for leadership or you rise up through the system with leadership, you practice on people. At the end of the day, that is what you do. You practice on people. And so leadership is, if you just are a leader who, I got the title and I'm just going to stay here, I'm not going to grow more, then you're just going to be a manager of people. The biggest thing I would say is you're always developing and learning. Realize the impact on your people. Clean it up, own it if it is. You know what? Hey, that wasn't my best day yet. Know your values. Leadership isn't being a hero. It's being a human and staying in the work and helping people feel like they matter. Like I said, right? Because when you do, people will give their best. And more importantly, they will keep giving it to themselves. So people want that, but there just isn't enough spaces, right? And you'll get amazing productivity from people if you're coming from this place of, how can I lead that person differently? You can't apply a blanket of that person.
You can't.
Everybody's going to be led the same way. The person who's difficult with conversations, who doesn't know how to take feedback. The person who takes the feedback and then goes and tells Joe how bad the feedback was because no one else was in the room, right? So how do we, and here's the piece. When you give a tough conversation to someone, circle back the next day to see how they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Cheryl, again, you wow us with your knowledge and your wisdom and your huge heart and totally inquisitive mind, and you are authentic. Thank you for being with us here today on Mindful Leadership Beyond Borders, and we'll have to have you back. What can I say? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Raj. You did amazing.
Thank you, my pleasure.